Hi guys, welcome back to Just Talking, where I talk at uni, sometimes listen. So today we're doing a sort of history video on Big Dipper, which is a historic wooden roller coaster located at Blackpool Pleasure Beach in the northwest coast of England. And yeah, this is a really nice video that I've been able to make. I really do like this coaster, and it's had quite a bit of attention in the recent years. And of course, if you do enjoy this video, it teaches you anything, make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and check out some of my other history of videos as well. So let's get into the construction and opening of this classic wooden roller coaster. So the coaster was manufactured by William Strickler, and it was also designed by John A. Miller, who is an American coaster designer. I'm not too sure which other roller coasters he designed, but of course apart from that, the Philadelphia Toboggan Coaster Company, they also helped to manufacture this along with William Strickler. So it would be an out and back style wooden roller coaster, and it would cost £25,000 in 1922 currency. So of course nowadays that would probably be maybe a few million. So it would have been quite an expensive roller coaster, and at the time these sorts of roller coasters would have been very impressive and very sought after. So it would have brought in a lot of guests to the park. So of course that million sort of pound price ticket was very much worth it. And an out and back style wooden roller coaster is where a coaster shortly after going out the station will scale a lift hill, and then it will go through a few hills and turns, and then it will turn 180 degrees to go back into the station, almost parallel to the track that you went down after the lift hill. So it opened on the 23rd of August 1923. And in 1936, the ride was actually extended by Charles Page, whose only work out of the 13 suspected wooden roller coasters he built remains at the park, in Blue Flyer, the small kids' wooden roller coaster in Nickelodeon Land, Big Dipper, and Nick Streak, otherwise known as Nickelodeon Streak or previously Roller Coaster, which of course is similarly in the Nickelodeon Land area but is a larger coaster and for a more teenage age group, and is painted orange now, though originally white. And added the arches which scale over the south entrance by Burger King, so you can see that by where, the sort of hill of Big One is, and you can just see underneath it the Big Dipper arch, and that looks really nice from looking out from the Boulevard Hotel and, out from Burger King. And it did also add a few further drops, and of course I will go into how those drops were achieved because it's actually quite an interesting fact. So Joseph Emberton, who is known for his work on the casino building where the White Tower restaurant is housed, and also the Grand National Station, which is a Mobius Loop coaster, he designed the station for Big Dipper. Of course, here you can see an early picture. I'm not too sure if this is after the extension, but this is the original coaster station, and of course it was a wired sort of top on it originally, but now the shape is actually a full metal structure, and it does look a lot nicer because it's a lot slimmer in my opinion, and it looks just a bit better than it did back then. But of course, Joseph Emberton was very much known for his preferable Art Deco style, and he helped out with some things to do with the ghost train, and he really did favour the Art Deco theme for a lot of his projects in the Pleasure Beach and just in general in theme parks. So for the first refurbishment that went through it, of course, there have been in the off-seasons a lot of retracks on this coaster to make it smoother, and of course after some incidents that have happened in the past, I just want to make sure that it's fully safe, because with age, with a lot of wooden roller coasters, they can become more dangerous, whether it be structurally or just to do with the mechanisms. But of course Big Dipper is incredibly safe at this point. But on February 13th, 2010, the coaster reopened after an incident, which I'll get into in a minute, that took place a year prior. In the refurbishment, the track in the station was actually replaced, and some of the track outside where some of the incident had happened. A new fountain was installed, see here, and the trains were repaired alongside a new dark blue paint job, which you can still see here. Of course, haven't changed very much of the cars since this refurbishment. And of course the station does look a lot better with a new sort of paint job and all the new cladding and the new fountain, because previously there was some plants in that area and a different fountain, but I think it looks really great, and there was a lot of work that went into this, including concept art that was released actually a few months prior to it reopening, and there was a lot of excitement around its reopening, and there is still a lot of excitement around this roller coaster still. So there was also new exterior panels added to the roller coaster, and also some cushioning on the inside of the train just to make it more comfortable. and then a new arrow design on those exterior panels, which is similar to the 1990s car design. Of course, at one point there was a red splatter design where it was just a red splat of some sort of slime or water on a creamy white background. And of course, they were added with the grab bars and they were replaced in the 2014 off-season, and that's just regular maintenance for safety. So for the ride incidents that unfortunately took place on this ride, on 26th of June 1975, part of the main lift hill and drop was severely damaged by a fire and had to be rebuilt. I'm not too sure of the cause of this fire, but it was most likely the same sort of issue that caused the Grand National Fire in about 2004, which was an electrical fault with some of the lights in the station. And I'm assuming that it's something to do with the electrics, because of course most of the stations for the wooden roller coasters are built entirely out of wood and no sort of brick or metal is really used, and most of the structure inside is. So of course it's very easy for electrical faults to actually cause bigger fires on these. But of course no one was hurt in this incident, and it was when guests weren't actually in the park. So on 11th of August 2009, two trains carrying a total of 32 guests collided, and 21 of these guests unfortunately had to go to hospital for broken bones or whiplash. Some just got away with a few bumps and bruises. That was really towards like the back of the cars and the front, for the one that was of course at the front of the crash. And on the 5th of June 2010, the train did partially derail from the track. I'm not too sure where. I'm mainly assuming on the top of the lift hill, because on my last ride on the coaster it did buckle a little bit, which is of course natural for, older wooden roller coasters trying to, dismount from the chain lift, but I'm assuming it might have been there. And of course they did have safety measures that got the train stopped, so there was no one hurt. And of course the issue was resolved, they got the train back onto the track, and of course the ride was briskly resumed in operation. So for some of the quick facts about this ride, it was listed as a Grade 2 building in April 19th, 2017. So for those of you who don't know what a listed building is, in the UK that includes Ireland, Scotland, Wales and England. You can have a listed building, which means it's protected by a historical organisation. So if you do want to demolish it, you have to go through a pretty complex process to get it removed. Of course, some buildings can be removed as normal, of course. Wild Mouse at one point was a listed building, of course that is now dismantled, and all of the parts are now being sold as ride parts, so you can actually still get some of the wood from the Wild Mouse, but of course they'd have to go through a special process to demolish Big Dipper. So alongside William Strickler, of course, Philadelphia Toboggan Coasters aided with the construction process, and it can operate 2 trains at once, each holding 24 riders, and it has 3 separate train cars with 4 rows in each holding 2 people on each row. The track length is approximately 3,300 feet long, with an approximate height of 65 feet. So the highest point is, I actually believe, this part, this first hill after you've come down from the first drop after the lift hill, which is a bit strange for a lot of coasters, but I do believe that's actually the highest point. I'm not too sure, it definitely feels like it. But of course there isn't an exact length for when it wasn't extended by Charles Page, but I do believe it was around 2,000-ish feet. It was extended by quite a significant amount. So Big Dipper was actually one of the first of its generation, the first of its generation to use under and side track friction wheels, so that it could actually achieve more intense elements. And it did also use an upstop wheel, and an upstop wheel is basically placed on the bottom of the track, underneath the car, so then when it's going up some quite intense and quite short hills and bouncy hills, it means that the train doesn't actually derail. And of course the side friction wheels mean that it obviously stays on the track for one thing, but also doesn't gain too much speed so that it derails, of course hence the friction part of its name. A man also set a record for riding the coaster continuously for 1,000 hours in 1998, and his name was Richard Rodriguez. Of course, he did actually end up doing a 2,000-hour record, but a rule change meant that it was actually nullified and that it didn't count anymore, which is quite unfortunate. But of course, there is actually a plaque in the station commemorating this event of the roller coaster, and he did actually set a record of 405 hours on a coaster. I'm not too sure if that was Big One or Big Dipper, I'm not too sure. But But of course, that is a very impressive record, and I wouldn't be able to do it that many times, I can tell you that for free. I think maybe twice or thrice is a bit too many times for me. So thank you for watching. I really do hope this taught you some things about this brilliant coaster. I do recommend that if you do go to the park that you do get on this coaster. It's a great classic ride with a lot of history, and it's particularly entertaining to go on when you know about its advancement and how it played a massive role in coaster engineering, because if it wasn't for Big Dipper, we might not actually have a lot of the coasters we have today, because things like the upstop wheel and side friction wheels are something every coaster has today as a safety measure. So of course it's really nice to be able to ride on this coaster as a part of global coaster history and national history for England. So of course, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. And yeah, this was Just Talking. Bye bye.